Hello and welcome to Murals Holiday Life Hacks. My name is Ryan Young. I am the Assistant Director of Regional Advancement. Murals stands for Miami University Regionals Alumni and Students. And so we exist to provide engagement opportunities for alumni, including alumni from the regional campuses. So we are here to present the second session in our Holiday Life Hacks series, which is Avoiding Holiday Hazards. Our speaker today, who I'm very happy to introduce, is Cassie Wilson, and she is the Assistant Director of Employee Wellness for Miami's Employee Wellness Program. And without further ado, I would like to pass over our program to our speaker, Cassie Wilson. Thank you so much for joining us today, Cassie.
Thank you so much, Ryan, for having me. I'm very excited to be here. Let me go ahead and share my slides and we'll get right to it. All right, so I was excited to be invited to talk to you all today about such a timely topic, life hacks for stress. And this is the holiday edition because I think we're all feeling it and need a little bit of a stress break. So let's get to it. I'd like to introduce myself a little bit more so you know who you're spending the next hour with. Like Ryan said, I am part of the Miami Employee Benefits and Wellness team and have been there for a little over a decade. I do have a picture over there of my work family, so you can see them and maybe you know some of them. And our job has been to promote physical activity in the form of 5K training programs, fitness classes, yoga classes, things like that on campus. Also healthy eating programs, cooking classes. Work and life support is another area we offer programs, and that's where a lot of the stress management programs that we offer are housed. Also some preventive health and healthy environment programs. My background is in clinical exercise physiology, so I have a master's degree from Northeastern University in Boston, and I've had the pleasure of also being trained as a yoga instructor, a health coach, and completing mental health first aid. So I'm really excited to use the skills I've obtained at Miami in the past 10 years, working with faculty and staff to share some life hacks and ways to reduce stress with you today. And I've also included, because I am from home, this is unique. I never thought I'd be doing a presentation from my bedroom, but this is the quietest place. So in case we have any other members of my family join, I don't expect that, but just in case, I thought I'd include them. I do have a picture of my family here and also my dog. So in case you hear any barking, I wanted you to know who you're spending the next hour with, and you might see some pictures of them throughout the presentation. All right, so our game plan for today, we are going to discuss stress, how it impacts us, specifically how it impacts our body, and then talk about why the holidays are tough. We're going to review 6 life hacks for stressful times. So we'll go through 6 different things that you can do to help reduce stress. And we'll even go ahead and try a few of those out. So be ready. We'll stand up, we'll stretch. We may try some journaling. So maybe if you have a paper or pen close by, but be ready to get up and move and stay active. We'll also, I'd like to make the case that a little bit goes a long way. So we'll get to how sometimes it's the small changes or small things that can make a big impact. I don't want to overwhelm anyone with more to-do lists or more stress today. So, and then at the end, actually about halfway through and then again at the end, we'll have time to discuss and ask questions and interact. So I'm excited to see what you have to say as well. All right, so let's get started and do an overview of stress. This is a common chart used called the stress continuum. And I think it's important. Stress really gets a bad rap. And I think that's because, we feel a lot of distress when we've been at levels of stress or anxiety for a long time. But there's actually 3 main categories, and you can kind of see here these categories: calm, eustress, and distress. And as the level of stress increases along the x-axis, you can see that performance changes on the y-axis. And it makes sense. We've all felt this. Think about certain levels of stress that actually get you essentially pumped up or revved up or ready to accomplish a big task or a big thing. So certain levels of stress can actually be beneficial. But it's when we are under those high levels of stress for a long time and we don't have any breaks back into the calm category that we can start to feel those effects of long-term stress. And you feel it. You feel exhausted. You feel burnout. You feel tired. So what is really important to think about with stress is how much time are you spending in each of these categories? Do you have times where your level of stress is calm? Do you have times when it's helping you perform at your best? And then do you have times where it's too much? And can you tell where you are on that? And is there a way to balance those out? So just wanted to set that groundwork. And then I've said a couple of times you feel stress in your body, right? And I think it's really important to understand we have 2 natural responses. We have our stress response, which is called the fight, flight, or freeze response. And we've all felt this, or we know ourselves or know people where if you're presented with a stressor, something happens, a deadline, whether it's life-threatening or bad news, something like that, you can feel, are you ready to run? Are you ready to stand your ground? Or I love this turtle where you're going to sink in your shell. So you have 3 different responses that happen physiologically in the body to protect you and to allow you to respond to that stress. Evolutionarily, maybe it was the saber-toothed tiger is what they always say. You're ready to save yourself. But nowadays, our body doesn't differentiate between the type of stressors. So even holiday stress or many of the things we're going through right now in 2020 elicit that stress response again and again, and the body can't differentiate if it's what the stressor is. It responds the same way. So on the other side of the coin, though, we have a relaxation response, where this is a term that was coined in the 1970s by Dr. Herbert Benson, one of the founding physicians with the mind-body response and mind-body connection. Actually showed that the body has an opposite response called the relaxation response. And we'll get into what happens. But I think what is key in a life hack is balancing the time we're spent in fight or flight in the stress response with time in the relaxation response. So let's get into a little bit about what's happening more specifically and physiologically with these 2 sides of the coin. All right, so stress in our nervous system. So the stress response, this, again, if you remember what the point is, it's to get you ready to fight, flight, or flee. So this is going to increase heart rate, increase breath. It's going to slow digestion, rush the blood to your skeletal muscles and away from your brain, making it harder to think clearly, so you're able to react. Stress hormones may be released in your body and may create feelings of anxiousness, kind of feel that revved up feeling. And it's really tiresome for your body to prepare to react like this. And then on the opposite side, the parasympathetic nervous system, or the relaxation response, when this happens, this is heartbeat can slow, the breath can be full and slow. It helps your digestion system absorb better. It increases blood flow to the lungs, to the brain, and the feel-good hormones will rush in to relieve, to help boost the mood. And it's your rest, your healing, your digestion. It's the way to restore. So I just think it's, so most of I set this up for all of you because the hacks that we'll go through are all things that help elicit the relaxation response. So your body really has time to be resilient in the face of stress. It has time to recover, repair, and be ready, because we know stress is not going anywhere fast. So, all right. So, all right. Holiday stress. I think this is a really important topic any year. And then when Ryan asked me to talk about it this year, I was like, oh my goodness, we have a recipe for stress like no other this year. You know, if you take holiday stress and then you add on ingredients like a pandemic, radical changes to work, loss of loved ones, separation from friends and family, kids in and out of school, political unrest. It is a recipe for stress like no other. So I think a couple important things when it comes to holiday stress is what are our expectations? And given these times, is there a way we can alter those expectations? I know they always say the holiday is the most wonderful time of the year. And there's a lot of expectations for it to be magical and be very special. And I think we just might need to be compassionate and be kind and ease some of those expectations. We need to acknowledge these times are really hard. The changes to routines, most routines have been completely blown out of the water. And then now a change of adding holiday responsibilities on top. That's really stressful. We need, like I said, self-compassion and kindness for ourselves and others. And if we're, and allow ourselves to say, is it realistic to have the highest expectations for what happens during the holidays? Are there ways to dial that back a little bit? And then check in with ourselves regularly. Ask yourself, how am I doing? And if the answer is not good, please, I always encourage anybody to reach out for help. Stress very quickly, when we spend too much time in that third category of distress, stress can very quickly get overwhelming. And I encourage everybody to just bust up any stigma and ask for help. Reach out. There's hotlines, there's therapists, there's counselors. Stress is an absolutely wonderful reason to seek help if you need it. So definitely just allowing yourself that compassion, checking in, how am I doing this, and acknowledging it's a really hard time. And then also, keeping it simple. Sometimes I know for me, I'm like, oh my gosh, I think we need to, for example, my kids will be on screens and very grumpy, and I'll have the thought, oh, we're going to change our whole family routine around TV and screens and iPads and phones, and I'll hatch this grand plan. When in reality, it's just, I need to keep it simple. So I think that's an important part. And then, we'll go through and the 6 hacks, and I hope to share some things that you can do when I say start small. You're like, okay, what is it? well, we can go ahead and get to that. But just acknowledging, I just want to acknowledge that it's a tough time for all of us, and there's no magic to alleviate stress, but hopefully some tips to be resilient and keep enduring throughout this tough time. All right, so here we go. Our 6 life hacks that I'm going to go over with you today are nature, movement, gratitude, social connection, meditation, and then last but not least, play. So hopefully by the end, we'll have some good tips shared amongst all of us on here to help surf the waves of holiday stress. All right, so diving right into the first hack. The first hack is nature. And I did want to say before I got into all these are 6 things that I've really seen throughout my time in employee wellness that have resonated with people. These are also things that have really resonated with me throughout my life and have really helped me. And I also have come across some really great books for some of these different hacks. So for each of these, I've tried to share some resources that if you want to dive deeper into this topic. And I pulled some quotes from some of my favorite books on these topics. And I hope to also give some specific examples for each. So nature is the first one. And this is something for me is a go-to if I'm feeling stressed. I just feel instinctually that it calms me. And this book, The Nature Fix by Florence Williams, Why Nature Makes Us Happier, Healthier, and More Creative, is an amazing book that shows and explores all the science around why nature is something that calms the body and elicits that relaxation response. And her quote is, spending time in nature makes us healthier, more creative, more empathetic, more apt to engage with the world and with each other. And when she says healthier, I think it's really important to mention the simple things about nature, the fresh air, the sunlight, and then the vitamin D, just that natural light really can help boost mood and protect against the seasonal affective disorder, which sometimes you hear about and it's pretty common. And also our circadian rhythm, so that's our body's natural clock, is when it's the clock that resets each day and allows the body and sets the release of the stress hormones or the relaxation hormones. So getting out in nature, seeing a sunset, seeing a sunrise, things like that help reset that circadian clock and allow those stress hormones to reset to the relaxation one. So it's really important for health reasons. And then I think another thing that's really interesting is studies have shown that people walking in nature versus walking in cities show decreased rumination. And rumination is when your mind is essentially stuck on a thought or is reliving something in your mind over and over. And, this is, for me, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I have this presentation coming up and I'm thinking about it over and over, like for a week before it happens. So a walk is something in nature that is shown scientifically to be able to help break that cycle of rumination. And then the last bullet is my favorite. Being in nature can elicit the feeling of awe, whether it's, awe of nature, whatever that feeling you have when you see how small you are in this vast landscape. That studies have shown that awe can increase your willingness. It enhances your sense of time. So it actually makes you feel like you have more time and you're willing to give your time to others. How many times have we always said, I wish I had more time in the day? So this study I love because it actually proved that when people experience that sense of awe, their sense of time expands and then they're willing to give that time to others. So it's pretty powerful. So I know you're telling me, Cassie, it's getting cold out. What am I going to do in nature? And I just encourage you to get creative, bundle up, eat. It doesn't take a summit to Mount Everest. It just try to, get outside, breathe some fresh air, or bring the nature inside. If you don't have a fireplace, you could do a fire on your TV with Netflix. You can stream that. Bring plants inside. If you think a lot about holiday decorations, are bringing nature inside. So plants, pets, a bird feeder, a fire, all those things are bringing nature in when it's cold, so you can help enjoy those benefits. All right, so let's go to our second life hack, which does, it fits really nicely, dovetails nicely off of nature, and that's movement. So the Greek philosopher and father of modern medicine, Hippocrates, he's a quote from him is that all people in bad mood should go for a walk. And if the mood does not improve, walk again. So I love that quote. I think it's pretty straightforward, pretty simple, but for me as an exercise physiologist, I've always studied and learned the importance of exercise and movement for cardiovascular health, muscular health, bone strength. But what I think now is more important than ever, and more studies are proving this true, is the benefit of movement on mental health and brain function. And this book, Spark, by John Rady here, is wonderful. It is so inspiring for putting movement into your day to preserve and help brain function and mental health. He has various studies and people he interviews and talks about that show that direct biological connection between moving your body and cognitive function. So I definitely encourage to build in movement. And it doesn't have to be a marathon. You start small, and big impacts can happen. I know personally, I feel like when I'm moving regularly, I'm sleeping better. I'm drinking more water, so I'm hydrating, and just feel the benefit of the relaxation response that happens once exercise is over. Once you finish an exercise bout, or once you move, you stretch the body, you do deep breaths, and you elicit that relaxation response. So again, we're moving into cold weather, but I encourage you to get creative and move when you can. There's a lot of great tools out there and things you can do at home. It's definitely a barrier with a pandemic and gyms closed and things we might normally do. But one thing that I did at Miami is just incorporating a desk stretch. And I'd love to do that with you guys now. Just getting up in the, halfway through your morning and your lunch from the computer and stretching. And then again, between lunch and when you're done for the day can really make a big difference in giving you a break from the stress response that happens when the emails start flooding in, and just get that relaxation response in between those stress responses with a nice stretch. So let's go ahead and move to our first break. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing the screen and so we can so you can follow along and we can all stretch together. So I encourage everybody to go ahead and stand up and move back from your computer. And we're just going to take a little stretch break this morning. So go ahead and stand up, and I want everybody to just inhale and stretch up to the sky like you're waking up in the morning. Breathing in deep, reaching your arms up to the sky. And then exhale and pressing them down. Good. Now tension builds in the shoulders when we're on the computer all day. So go ahead and inhale, roll your shoulders up. And exhale, roll them back down. And anytime when you stand up to stretch, or anytime while I'm leading you through, if you have a chance to close your eyes, I would strongly recommend it, because your eyes get so tired looking at the screen all day. So if you know you're going to do shoulder rolls for 30 seconds, close your eyes and roll your shoulders. Good. Now go ahead and open your eyes, and we're going to reach your right arm. I might be opposite from you, so you can mirror me, but you're going to reach your right arm up and let your left arm go down the seam of your pants and stretch through the side of your body. These muscles get very tight when our arms are down at our computer or driving, so this will be a really nice side stretch for you. Let your jaw relax. Let your eyes close and your forehead relax. And take a deep breath here. Good. And then go ahead and come up, and we'll do the other side. So inhale to sweep up, and exhale to stretch over to the other side. So simple stretches, nothing complicated, but taking those deep breaths and gently stretching through the body is a really quick hack for relaxing the nervous system. Good. Go ahead here and hug one knee in and then the other. So bringing some movement into the hips, which also get really tight when you're sitting at the computer all day. So alternating sides. You can hold on to a chair or your desk if you need to balance. And then go ahead and hold the right leg up and just make a couple circles with your ankle. Sometimes if I'm at the computer, I totally forget I have feet. So go ahead and do that. And the other side. Good. Now go ahead and just one more big stretch up. Inhale, reach up to the sky. Big breath in. And exhale, press your arms down, roll the shoulders, maybe roll the wrists. And great job. We'll go ahead and come back. So just think about it doesn't have to be a complicated stretch. Just do what feels good for you and incorporate the deep breath, and you'll be fast-tracked to that relaxation response. All right, so let me go ahead and share my screen again, and we'll get back. I think we're ready to move on to our next life hack. All right, so thanks for hanging in there with me. Hope you feel refreshed after that stretch. And number 3 is gratitude. This is our next life hack. And I think we all, for me, this one is really important. My brain and most of our brains, I think it's part of our natural biology, is to have a propensity for the negative. So our brain remembers things, the negative. If you think about it, evolutionarily, it helped us remember which berries made us sick or not, which plants were safe or not, which animals were gentle or not, things like that. So we remembered the negative. And the negative, it's something that we easily hold on to. I think they say it takes 7 positive occurrences to outweigh 1 negative. I've heard people say too that the negative sticks to you like Velcro and the positives slide off like Teflon. So I think that's just the way we're wired. And it was very helpful for us to know and to survive with that, to know the dangers, to remember them. But now it can feel, it doesn't always help us get through stressful moments. So gratitude, I feel, is a great antidote to that propensity and that negativity bias. I also think it's human nature to compare. I know if I'm scrolling through Facebook or I'm watching HGTV and I think, oh my gosh, everything, their house looks perfect and mine is horrible, or their family photo is beautiful and I didn't even take one. And maybe those things are true or not, but it doesn't help me get through stressful times. So gratitude for me, and what I love about this book by Janice Kaplan is it really dives into the science of how gratitude is that antidote to those biases. I think, so I just want to share 3 things from there, and then we're going to try a quick gratitude practice. So what's been interesting in the science is they can tell that when they look at people who've had a lot of past adversity, they do show stronger ability to savor the present moment or to practice gratitude. So I think that's important, to think about the people who have been resilient in the face of stress, in the face of adversity, have had this ability to savor and be grateful for the things they do have. Also, I think we know, what it's like to be grateful. We know that what it is. And it's easy to say, yes, I am grateful for that. But what Janice says in her book is what she found throughout the year of looking at gratitude is you can't passively be grateful. You have to actively stop and feel it, experience the emotion, and that creates the inner richness and that sustains us through difficult times as well as good ones. And I think a way to actively experience the emotion is to journal, or to write it down, or to write thank you notes, or to include it in a game or an activity. Like actually write it down, talk about it, think about it. And I think studies have shown that people who write down things they're grateful for every night or even a few times a week have improved well-being and lower risk for depression. So I hope you guys will try with me. Let's go ahead, grab a piece of paper, grab a pen if you have it, and let's take a little gratitude journaling break, okay? So I'll give you a minute to grab anything you need and take any other adjustments. Make sure you're ready to go. And just allow yourself to, shift to a place where you want to think about what you're thankful for. And I'm going to give you a couple questions that'll help inspire you to get into that frame of mind. So can you think of and write down any family members or friends that have done something for you that you've been thankful for? Or maybe just their friendship. Just write down anything that you feel grateful for, you've been thankful for with regards to family or friends lately. So that would be our first one. All right, so our second one is I would love you to reflect on how you're thankful for what your body allows you to do on a day-to-day basis. So the first one was thinking about thankful for family and friends. And then this next one is thinking about gratitude for your body and what it does for you day to day. All right, and then to wrap in another life hack, just last one, write down a couple things you're grateful for in nature or the natural world, something maybe outside your window. Good. All right. Well, thank you for trying that with me. It's something that is attainable. I think it's something that can be, doesn't have to take a lot of time, but can be impactful. I know you can, there's a lot of different ways to do this. I know I've seen gratitude graffiti in neighborhoods where people write thank yous with sidewalk chalk. In neighborhoods, I've seen meetings where people will share thank you notes, or icebreakers at the beginning of a meeting, share something you're thankful for. And I know I have this ceramic turkey from my grandmother that we always put each night before building up to Thanksgiving. We put a note in there. That's something we're thankful for, and then we read it. So there's a lot of ways to play around with this. So thank you so much for trying that with me. All right, next one, here we go. Number 4 is social connection. And this, I feel right now, is definitely the biggest challenge. So many of the ways that we fostered this life hack and we practiced this have been changed with the pandemic this year. So this one definitely takes a lot of creativity, but I want to just reiterate some of the links between social connection and stress and your health. And this Dr. Capaccio wrote this book, Loneliness, really dives into that aspect of social connection and health. And it definitely shows belonging as a fundamental human need, and that it's the importance of investing in nourishing relationships. I do think, connection right now, there's so many factors, and this is so personal. Are you introverted? Are you extroverted? Maybe there's people that you've spent a lot more time with that you need space from, and maybe there's people that you enjoy spending time with that you can't. So it's very complex. But just know a sense of isolation disrupts not only our thinking abilities and our willpower, but also our immune systems. So this is a biggie, but I think it's also a place, again, to have compassion and grace and changing expectations, so we can get through these times. And another thing that I think is really interesting is psychologists have looked at different types of relationships, and they call weak ties are things like saying hi to the Starbucks lady, or saying hi to the person who swipes your ID card at the gym, or things like that. And then strong ties are like best friends and longtime friendships. And they actually were looking at the difference between those, and they actually showed some of the times the weak ties, those small interactions, actually produce higher levels of well-being than those strong ties. Not to say that one is better than the other, but I think for me, it really brings home the loss we're all feeling because we don't have those small weak tie interactions like we used to. So I think get creative. Maybe more neighbors are out walking than ever before. You can exchange a wave, and that could be a weak tie social connection. Maybe there's ways, if you're connecting with technology, that you can still connect. I know they do say if you are brave enough to share your camera, people can see your smile, they can see your face, and you can connect with some of those social cues more than if you were just talking through the phone. Also, headphones with a Zoom call, you can hear intonations better in people's voices, and some of those things hit you on the biological level and strengthen those connections. So just get creative, find fun ways to connect. It's going to be different for all of us, but know it's going to help elicit that relaxation response and break that stress cycle for you. I know one example, my mom and I, we text. My mom is in New York, and so I haven't seen her, but we text pictures of our dinner back and forth, like what we're making for dinner. And it seems small, but it's really made a big difference. We just started it during this pandemic. It's like, what are you having for dinner? What are you having for dinner? So just something small can make a big difference. All right. And so I'll take a second now. I'm encouraging you, if you have your phone near you or your email or you have something next to you, when we did our gratitude exercise and you were thankful for a family or friend, if it's convenient, if it works out, I would encourage you now, pick up your phone and text them a thank you. It doesn't have to be long. You could just say like, thank you for being my friend, but share that gratitude, connect and just see how that feels in your body. Does it feel stressful or does it help? Just do an experiment and try that. And then I also have included here, I work with undergraduate interns at Miami in health and wellness, and they created a 7 days of connecting challenge that we have out on our website. And they were saying try for 7 days in a row, or pick 7 separate days in the month of December and try some of these things to help connect, whether it's video calling a friend, sending a letter, trying a new recipe and delivering it to family and friends, message someone you haven't spoken to in a while. So just some friendly prompts to help get us through this time. And we're socially distant, but maybe we can still be socially connected. So, all right. Moving along, let's see what we have next is our 5th hack is meditation. And this one is super, this is probably one of the hacks most well documented in the scientific literature about about eliciting the relaxation response and cutting through that stress response. And for me, this has been one that's been a really great life lesson for me. I was first introduced to meditation when I was in graduate school in Boston. I was working in cardiac rehab. And we were, the nurses were teaching the heart patients meditation to help them relax and to help them decrease their stress response. And there's also studies happening at the same time with a cardiologist who is Jon Kabat-Zinn, who's one of the fathers of mindfulness meditation. And he was actually showing that mindfulness-based stress reduction was able to help heart patients recover from surgeries. Their wounds were actually able to heal faster. They were able to adapt new healthy behaviors and just help get over the trauma of having a sudden heart attack or heart condition and coming through that. So it was really, eye-opening for me. And I felt very fortunate to be able to get to do some of that meditation so early on. And see the impact on the heart patients. So it's been something for me that I've always tried to incorporate and share. It has helped me with stressful times, helps me get through on a day-to-day basis, and something that I love to share with others. So I do want to take us through today, but I don't want anybody to be intimidated by the term meditation. This can be something that can, there's many names for this. This can be a guided relaxation. This can be deep breathing exercises. This can be silent reflection. It can be prayer. It can be many different things. It's just a practice of where you place your awareness and your attention and connecting to the breath. And those are the things that will help elicit the relaxation response. So, and a couple other things to point out. A lot of people say, what is mindfulness? I hear that term everywhere. And the definition from Jon Kabat-Zinn is paying attention in a particular way on purpose, in the present moment, and non-judgmentally. So this is a very loaded definition, but it helps if we unpack it. It helps understand why meditation helps get us through stressful times. When most of our day we are spent in using the parts of our brain where we are thinking, and we have wonderful capabilities for this. We solve problems, we make lists, we decide, we categorize, we are changing and fixing and thinking about things all day. But we also have this side of our mind that is a wonderful observer of things happening through our senses. So if we're able to sense, sense what's happening in a present moment without the need to correct, fix, change, decide, list. It actually opens up that relaxation response. Just by drawing the attention to sensing and awareness can really help relax us. So that is when it says paying attention in a particular way, it's sensing versus thinking. And then when it says in the present moment, I love this quote. I don't know if anybody has watched Kung Fu Panda, but this quote, I love it. It's from that cartoon movie. But yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift. So that is why it's called the present. So I think a lot of times when you start to listen to your thoughts, most of the time the thoughts are rehashing things that have happened in the past, or they're anticipating and thinking about things that are happening in the future. So where meditation comes in is it helps create a third place where you're actually in the present moment, observing what's happening right now. And I think that is what you've probably heard this many times before, but savoring that present moment is one of those life hacks to help get you through stressful times. And then last but not least, it talks about, so we have particular way, on purpose, present moment, and non-judgmentally. So I love Dan Harris. He has, in his books about meditation, he's very down to earth. He says this is meditation for the fidgety skeptics. And I love how he claims this isn't the magic solution. It's 10% happier. But he has a lot of great advice in there. And it says meditation is not about feeling a certain way. It's about feeling the way you feel. So really noticing what's happening without the judgments, without the labels, without the need to fix. So those are some important tenets and some important principles of meditation, and why I think they are really important when you're talking about hacking through some stressors, and it can be a really great tool. So I hope that you guys will try with me to do a mindful break. All right, so here we go. Go ahead and if you can, kind of scoot back, sit up nice and tall. You want to feel your feet supported flat on the ground and your spine up tall. They always say strong back, soft front, so you can really breathe easy. But let's take a nice mindful stress break. Take a couple big deep breaths in and out. And allow your eyelids to close, or just have a gentle gaze down. And see if you can't transition from that thinking mind to that sensing mind. So see if you can feel your feet on the ground. See if you can feel your body supported by your chair. See if you can feel and notice your breath as it comes in and out, just on its own will. Let each inhale fill the body, bringing in fresh oxygen to all the cells. And let each exhale relieve any tension and bring you relief from stress and filled with relaxation. Then if you notice your mind jumping to any thoughts at all, be kind, be compassionate. It doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It actually means you're doing it right. And gently just return your mind, back to noticing your breath, listening for your heartbeat or feeling for it. Just noticing one breath at a time. And let any need to fix or change or categorize or any good or bad, let that all fall away. And then we'll finish. Just take a big deep breath in. And a nice big exhale. And you can open your eyes. And thank you so much for trying that with me. I really think just closing your eyes and taking 3 deep breaths can be a start to really resetting the relaxation response and giving your nervous system a break. I don't feel like it has to be a silent 7-day retreat. You can try meditation, deep breathing in those small, subtle ways. So, all right. So our last one, getting close to the end here. I saved the best for last. I think one of the best hacks we can do for breaking any stress is being open to play. And there's so many different ways to do this. And I love this book by Stuart Brown. He says how play shapes the brain, opens the imagination, and invigorates the soul. So just being open to spontaneity, enjoying the unexpected, and it really has shown when they look at the psychology of it to really to heighten this quote is the vividness of life. And again and again, laughter has been shown to have great benefits physiologically within the body. So laughter can relieve stress, boost engagement and well-being, spurs not only creativity and collaboration, but also analytic precision and productivity. So really, really cool benefits. And this can be accessed through many of the arts, many different ways. Think about dance, think about music, comedy, have a show you can put on and laugh. Are there movies, theater, poetry, good books? What is it for you that makes you feel playful, makes you feel in the present moment, something that allows you to have a break from that constant stress response? Just want to leave you with that, playful, be open to those playful opportunities. I know my poor dog got dressed up here because in the beginning of the pandemic, I had a friend who got a dog and we were doing this contest of who could make each other laugh by dressing their dog up. So get creative, have fun. I know I'm ordering Legos for myself under the Christmas tree because if I'm not, I want to play as well. There'll always be cleaning to do, but I want to make sure there's some toys under there for the adults. So just encourage you guys to find ways to play through these holidays. All right, so we made it through the 6 hacks, and we've got 5 minutes left. We're winding down. I wanted to leave time to ask questions and share examples. I think I want to just go ahead and pop over, do 2 more slides with you guys, and then we'll open it up for questions and experiences. Let's go ahead. I'm going to quickly just give you 2 more things to note. I'm not going to, I could do a whole presentation on technology. I'm sure there's so many discussions around here, but when it comes to the stress response, just really set some healthy boundaries and tread cautiously with technology. It can be a vehicle to help us access a lot of these life hacks and social connection. It can be a really wonderful vehicle, but it also can be a source of stress. So really, it is that big elephant in the room. It is the double-edged sword. So just keep that in mind. Use it intentionally to practice the life hacks, or use the life hacks as a break from stressful technology. Also, a lot of people say, these are just some small things. Are they really going to make a big difference? And I love this graph and this concept from psychologists. It's called the happiness set point. And it says that there's 3 factors that kind of determine where we are. It could be genes, so 50% of it is our family and our genes, 10% our circumstances, and 40% what you do. I would have thought before I learned this that it's our circumstances, 100%. So this is really eye-opening for me. I think it's why maybe you see someone wins the lottery, you think they'd be at the highest, happiest set point, but maybe a year down the road, they're kind of back to themselves. So I think it just brings home this 40% is huge. What you consciously do can really make a difference. So I just want to make the case for starting small, and what you do, and these small hacks can really make a difference. If 40% of what I choose to do on a daily basis can influence my overall happiness set point and decrease my feelings of stress, I want to fill that 40% with things like we talked about, with meditation, with nature, find ways to bring in movement and play and gratitude to really tip the balance of that set point. So, all right, summarying it all up. I love this Bruce Lee quote: absorb what is useful, discard what is useless, and add what is specifically your own. So my wish for all of you today is that you are inspired to try some of the life hacks we went through. The ones you like, great. The ones you don't, that's okay. And then add them to your own bag of tricks. What are your own go-to? We all know deep down, what are the things that restore, replenish us, decrease that stress response, increase the relaxation response. And then with those 2 things together, I hope that you have moments where you're able to surf the holiday stress that we all face ahead of us. So with that, thank you so much. And I'd love to open it up to questions. I'm so sorry, I only left 1 minute. How did that time go so fast? But I'll go ahead and stop sharing my screen.
Cassie, thank you so much for your presentation. It was very enlightening and instructive. We had a few questions. One, we had a gentleman named Bill who asked if you'd be willing to share your presentation. He said he did something similar and loved to have the content to look at later.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to.
Okay, perfect. I think we have time to get to one question of the other ones. One question that came up is there a science on the best time of the day to exercise? to do their
Ooh,
stretching?
that's a really good question. And I know there are studies out there. I do not know that off the top of my head, but I'd be happy to look some stuff up and send it over. But I think it depends on the person as well. But that's a great question. I wish I knew. I don't have that
I'm
in
gonna
the forefront.
I'm gonna slip in one more question, and that was, do the techniques that you shared today, the life hacks, do those work for children as well, or you have children yourself? Do you adapt those, or are there different things that you do for kids?
I would say that they are all applicable. Most of the books that I referenced, we're looking at research studies for adults. But I would absolutely say a lot of these things are things that kids learn, or they're incorporating into the schools with some of the PACS training. So I do think I would say if you're going to do it together as a family, the better.
Okay, perfect. Well, Cassie, thank you so much for giving your presentation. And for everyone who joined us today, thank you so much for joining us. We're so happy that you had an opportunity to hear about some different life hacks for dealing with holiday stress. I will encourage you with a couple things. Is number one, you can rewatch this program and share it with others on the same URL you signed up on. Additionally, I would encourage you to go to the MUAA webinar site to see some of our different webinars that we've previously recorded, as well as some of the ones that we will record in the future. So we look forward to being back with all of you in person whenever everything settles back down. But until then, we look forward to continuing to engage you virtually. So thank you, and I hope you have a wonderful holiday season.